Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. We're at it again. We're looking at a breakdown. This is of The Crown, and this is a small snippet from a much larger video, which is available only to the Patreon supporters of the Wandering DP podcast/YouTube channel, right? Doing more and more stuff here on YouTube. So every little bit of support allows me to do more of that. Why? Because I don't want a real job. You think I want to go out on set and you think I want to make these things on my own? That's hard. It's way easier to talk about it. Way easier to come up with these systems, and then you go out there and do the hard work, and then you tell me how good the system is. And then I say, of course, I know. I'm the one that came up with it. That's how it works. So if you like this content, if you learn this way, which is the way that I find is the easiest way to learn, what is the job ultimately of a cinematographer? It's to make well-informed decisions. Well-informed is the important part. Decisions, less important. I mean, you do have to make decisions on set, but if you have no idea what you're doing, there's no other cinematographer on set who's there looking at you like, hey, like you don't know what you're doing. No, everybody thinks you know what you're doing. That's the whole reason you got the job. Don't you think you'd be better if you actually knew what you were talking about? And how do you get better at decisions? Well, you see, well, what factors played into the final images? If I analyze those factors, I might become a better cinematographer. I might be one day able to be on the channel that Patrick breaks down and tells everybody that it's terrible. You can aspire to that because that's a great goal. I mean, these people are doing wonderful work. And we're looking at The Crown today because last time we looked at a bar scene, right? Two people facing the same direction. Is there infinite ways to cover that scene? No. Do you know that? Maybe. I doubt it, right? There's two ways to cover that scene. And we're going to look at a very specific way here. But guess what? It's not in a bar. It's in a theater. And do they make it look nice? You decide. Guess what? Even if you don't like the way that it looks, it's a really easy fix. You just do the exact opposite to what they've done. Right? So this is a double-edged sword. You like it, copy it. You don't like it, do the exact opposite. Everybody wins. Okay, let's go. Okay, this shot. You will do this shot in a commercial, in something, in a narrative piece, person on the stage. Easiest way to do this shot is normally what's easier to control is this source, right? This little source 4, whatever spotlight they're using, easier to control that than to control all of the practicals. But really we're just setting here you're setting the room tone first. So how much do you want to see into these shadows? That's what you're setting first. Set that on the camera, then change this because it's significantly easier depending on the location, right? Some people have really easy dimmer boards. It doesn't change the color. If they're working with modern stuff, older stuff obviously going to warm up if you dim it down. But really this shot is all about how much do we want to see into the shadows? Well, then let's set the spot to that. And we know that this is going to be hard. But always, when we come around to the front, we're going to come around to the front of this lady. We're going to soften it off, right? We want our little old school flair in there. We're going to soften it off. And let's go to cut to the next shot. Boom. Okay, so in, what was it, last week's when we looked at dark, we talked about the hospital location where we did that behind shot, which is what we just did there on the lady on the stage. We did our behind shot. And then it just immediately falls into the formula. You can go one of two ways. You can go behind to behind, which is what we're doing here, or you can go behind, flop to the front for the conversation, right? But that changes your lighting altogether. Here, we've gone the French over. So we're behind these people because that gives us this beautiful light from the stage, which carries into the darkness. We can use light to dark back here. We can pepper the frame with some stuff, look down, see all the interesting little bits of this what do they call those little booths when you're at the opera? Like you people know, like you undignified people know about the opera. Yeah, so it's really balancing. You're probably going to set this level, and then this is just, you're going to arm something out over the edge, little light matte 4. It's just a nice, easy single, so it's going to be simple, and we're going to push it back towards the camera, right? That's what gives you that little edge, and as long as we get this light to this light, this ratio sitting in the right ballpark, it's going to look really, really natural. Even though there shouldn't be any light in this place, right? It's fucking dark. All of this stuff would be coming back from the stage. If you've ever been to the theater, you know it's not this bright. Plus we have a beautiful eye light. But this is the advantage of being on this side of the line, the dark side. Imagine this scene playing out from the other side like they did in dark. Everything would be flattened off. But in some situations, some people want that look. Here, obviously, they don't. And that is a good-looking shot, right? It's all about the balance between back there, this little eye light, and then the fall off here to get the light
dark light. That is what you're looking for. And what usually happens is you're going to say, okay, let's get a light mat for over the top. Let's push it in this way. And, you know, the lighting team sets it up. The chances of it being in the right spot first up, very small. If the more you work with the gaffer, the more you work with the team, they might get in the world. But this is where you're going to spend your 7 minutes, right? Because they're going to have a stand in here. And then this lady comes in after she's been in the trailer. She's learned all her lines. She's coming in hot. Yes, sitting down. And now you have 60 seconds to make sure this thing is in the right spot. You watch the first take. You know, you might make an adjustment. If you're Shane Hurlbut and you want Christian Bale to yell at you, you will make an adjustment on the second take. But really, you got one. Like, let's have a, you know, let's do a rehearsal. That's the only time you have to move that light. So you better be ready. And if it's not in place, say you're like, well, let's just use the theater lights and maybe that will give us something. By the time you then go, wait a second. We don't have enough level. It's going to be all flat. It's going to be all dark. I'm going to have to really up the exposure. It's going to make the stage really hot. You don't have the 10 minutes. You know, 10 minutes is not long. But when everybody is sitting there waiting and you had all this time already, it's long. So just be prepared with a light mat over the top, something that you can arm over. And I say light mat because it's light. You could use tubes. You could use lots of stuff in this location. But again, the important part is making that decision of what side of the line we're going to be on. Is it a little weird that we're looking down on these people this much? Yeah, okay. Now you see, look at how flat it gets to the front. And at least we're shooting along the light. And the light is coming from upstage, which makes no sense because the stage is this way, right? In real life, all the light would be coming back this way, filling this bit in. It wouldn't be coming this way down the aisle, but this is what looks good. So we rake everybody along this way. And old Beg's quite happy. There she is. Focus on our lady. And now, okay, we didn't soften this at all. This is hard light. But hard light always makes it easy for us to see the angle of the hard light. And we just get the lady to step in the right spot so we're not filling in this side to camera. And if you want to see more back there, what do? You throw a practical back there. You throw another stage light or something. Or you hit her with a backlight from back there to just give a little veil to the lens, a little flare or something. Just like an ambient orangey glow. Here, they just let it go dark. Singing, easy. You could be doing, I mean, if you're going to leave it this dark, this is again where two cameras come in. You could do that behind shot and you could do this shot at the exact same time. Because we're taking it at such a steep angle.
All right, now I know that you think that there is no system to coverage, that there can't possibly only be 5 scenes. There can't only be 5 scenes that you ever have to worry about for coverage. There can't be a system that allows you to know the end decision of every coverage choice that you make, except that there is. There is a system, right? There's only 5 scenes that you ever have to worry about it. The bar is a very important one. It's very common. In fact, it's the second most common scene. The only one more common is the office scene. And we will look at that later down the line. If you're a Patreon supporter, you know it very well. If you've seen the course, that's also in the description below. You can find all the things. We go down every single possible decision, every coverage decision, every blocking decision, which then in turn affects every lighting decision you can make with any bar scene. Anytime. 2 people facing the same direction, you got it covered in that course. Does it work? You tell me. I don't know. I'm a space cadet. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. Many thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.